sun! We're going to have beautiful weather the whole evening! We have a little announcement to make, and I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
Steve. Oh, there we go. I'm going to take this off. All right, so you guys noticed on the Jumbotron we got a special guy playing up. My name's Steve. I'm a Naperville JC, and I'm Dan Gujic's nephew. When you think of the Naperville Last Fling, you think about the big machine, right? That comes in, we put on some concerts, we put on Family Funland, blah, 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 blah. Well, what you don't realize is that the Naperville Last Fling is just a big, huge, living, breathing machine. And at the heart of the fling are the Naperville JCs. These Naperville JCs are the breathing blood of this show. So when my Uncle Dan died last November at the young age of 48, it was devastating to my family. We didn't know how we were going to cope, and we didn't know how we were going to get through the days. But like all life tragedies, family and friends come together to heal. The Naperville JCs came through in a big way. We all knew having Uncle Dan here at the Fling was going to be hard for all those that worked side by side with him and lived and breathed with him. So it was such a wonderful display of love and kindness when these people over here, right behind me, said we want to dedicate Sunday night to Uncle Dan. The Naperville JCs really outdid themselves with their love and hard work to make tonight's efforts come together. So I want to just tell you a little bit about who Uncle Dan was and Dan Gujic was. So I think what I'd like all the JCs to do here right now is to pause and reflect, my friends. Danny was a Naperville JC for 15 years. He dedicated himself every year to running security for the Last Fling. His voice was always the first to yell, check. And what do you need done? He always was making sure that backstage and the rest of us in security were ready to rock and roll. Now granted, Uncle Dan was a bit of a music buff. It was totally self-serving because he wanted to get some good tunage for the weekend. But it all benefited the JCs and us. Uncle Dan was a loving father of 2 kids, Arena and Robert, and a shining example of what a husband is to my Aunt Steph. He was the type of guy that you wanted for a brother. My Uncle Tim, my dad, Mike, always had stories that no matter how grave a situation was, Dan was there for him. You could always put a smile on their face with this classic little smile or a joke. He was the uncle that everyone wants to have. He was the guy that no matter how grave or how crazy things got, he'd be like, hey man, let's go talk. So Jesse, Andrew, Allison, Matt, Jake, Josh, and myself were honored to have this great man as our uncle. So I was last night sitting next to my 3-month pregnant wife.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was pondering what to say. So I think I'm going to tell you a little story about Uncle Dan to kind of sum it up. So while I flip this page, just pause and reflect on a moment. All right, so here's the story. So my Uncle Tim and my Uncle Dan are driving along up in Wisconsin. And you know Wisconsin white out those conditions of where even Wisconsinites are like, hey, this is bad, eh? So here they are, they're driving in like a blizzard whiteout condition, can't see 20 feet in front of them, 6 inches of snow on the hood, so who knows how many are on the roof. And all of a sudden, Uncle Dan opens the sunroof and lets all the snow fall in. And Tim's like, what did you do that for? And I thought we could use a nice wake-up call. Danny was a friend to so many people, and a lot of those people are right here tonight working this fling to make this happen. Like Tom Mano, Casey, Fabo, Steve, and the list can continue on and on. I remember for Uncle Dan's funeral, we had a procession, and the wonderful Naperville Park Police, they gave us a procession from the funeral home right to this very hill. And the Naperville JCs were out on that cold day with Brad Gutshaw, his wife, and a crew of JCs standing on top of that hill where all those security guys are at right now, holding signs for Rooster Beer and We Love You, Danny. So you'll notice tonight and throughout the fling that on the back of all the JCs we have a little shirt that says, "In loving memory of Dan." So, you see, Dan was that guy that made you feel like $1,000,000. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wish I wasn't up here tonight. I wish I was backstage, sitting next to my uncle talking, and I wasn't talking to you all. But I'm here tonight, and so I lost my place. Bear with me. But looking around here tonight, I know he's here with us in spirit and in our hearts, and with all of you people that have come out to celebrate with Collective Soul and the JCs from Naperville's Last Fling. So, in loving tribute of him, make sure you hug the person that made this person, just like Uncle Dan, your life. Make sure you know that they love you and that you love them. Because the streets of heaven are too full tonight. The streets of heaven are too full of people like Uncle Dan. Those streets will be paved, and we know that those people are with us in spirit. Now, so all right, so now everyone's like all emotional and sad. So my Uncle Dan would be like, "All right, Steven, let's back it up and let's get it up." All right, so we're gonna do a little game, and I want everyone to say check after I ask 3 questions. Are you ready? Check. All right. Are you guys ready for some tunage?
Yeah!
There it is. You guys ready to buy some beer?
Check!
You guys ready for some rock and roll?
Check!
You guys ready for the love hammers?
Check!